Hey everyone, it's Rob Brennan from Cape Built Development, and today is a very special and exciting day. It's what you call your before day. Tomorrow we're going to start construction here at 255 Main Street, and it's going to be the start of an incredible transformation that's been 2 years in the planning. It'll take us another 9 to 10 months to pull this off, but at the end of the day, it's going to be a project that we're going to be really proud of. So let's take a look around. So we're starting off here in the main hallway. This is the main entrance at 255 Main Street. And the building goes back to 1905. And we just completed last week a removal of all the asbestos tile that was located throughout. We took up all the rugs. We exposed a hardwood, actually levels of hardwood that go all the way back to 1905 when the building was originally built. Some surprises in here, some pleasant surprises. Unfortunately, I think the hardwood, most of it is in a condition that we won't be able to preserve. At the end of the day, this is where our cafe space is going to be. So we're talking with a few different groups who are interested in coming in and setting up a cafe that would be your kind of classic neighborhood spot. We envision it as a place where folks would pop into at the beginning of the day to get their coffee and pastries, pop in at lunchtime for something quick and nutritious and fresh, and at the end of the day, a place they can pop into, grab and go entrees, maybe have another coffee, maybe have a beer or wine, catch up with friends, and head out for the evening. Really a neighborhood anchor. And we're working with about a little over 2,500 square feet on this side. The front of the building is actually going to be cut back. So the original building actually ended here. And if you look up, you can see the ceilings that we're working with. And actually, it was an amazing find. We've got some tin ceilings that probably were original to when the building was built. But the building originally ended here. So everything out front, this is actually added on much later. So it's going to be chopped back, to about this point on the wall. And the windows that are currently over here are all going to be brought back, and a new storefront is going to be set up. And then as we walk through, all these offices are obviously going to go. The entire space will open up, and the rear wall that you currently see is going to be where the counter space would be for your cafe, and the space behind it is going to be kitchen, etc. But wide space. Looking back toward the front. Really deep. It's got great light coming in from the front. All the lights have been pulled now because they were old fluorescent bulbs, so we had to dispose of them when we did the hazardous waste asbestos removal. So they were all bundled up and will be disposed of properly. But we'll take a look around the corner and we can see where the kitchen is going to go. So the space we're looking at now, unfortunately, a little bit dark because all the lights are gone, but this would be the back of your cafe counter. And then coming around this entire addition, what we're looking at now is space that was added on, much later than the original 1905. And this entire space is going to be lopped off the back. We're going to be expanding the back wall and putting in a much larger, kitchen storage area in here. The back hall will be a hallway that connects to some bathrooms. And then we're coming into the second half of the first floor. This again is going to be expanded pretty deep. Here's a bathroom in here that's going to be lopped off the side of the building. And this space is eventually going to be our new home here on Main Street. So Cape Built Companies, Cape Built Development, to the extent that we're developing and promoting life on Main Street, figured it made sense for us to be here. So this is going to be our new home. Similarly, front of this is going to be lopped off. We'll have a new front entrance and a conference room up front. And then, looking at having open working space, which will extend beyond the wall and the mirror that you see and continue out to the back. But What was exposed, original floors going back to 1905, really in surprising shape. So it gives us something great to work with. There'll be leveling that goes on, and then we'll be putting some new floor covering on top of this. Haven't quite picked that out yet. I'm sure Tana's going to weigh in and have some ideas. She always picks out great finishes for all our projects, so really looking forward to see what she's got in store for this. But let's continue. We'll go back through the cafe space and make our way up to the second floor. This staircase is going to remain. It's a nice wide staircase, much wider than they make these days. The treads and the risers themselves are in great condition. We'll end up putting some kind of covering on top of those. But that will eventually lead up to a main hallway. This hallway, as you see it now, is going to be shrunk in. We're going to be building out on the left and the right side apartments. I kind of say 5.5 apartments on this floor and 4.5 on the second floor. But just looking here for a moment, you can see the hardwood floors that were put in. And there are multiple levels here, if you can take a look down here. The one in front of us goes back original to 1905. And then you can see there was another hardwood floor that was laid on top of it in the opposite direction. And we think it had to do with some settling that was going on in the building, running to the east and west sides of the building. And they kind of built up a whole nother hardwood floor level in here. We didn't notice it as much because there was almost like a leveling ramp that was poured, so it was a very gradual difference. But when you start looking over on the east side of the building, you can kind of see a lot of what was going on here. Floor on top of floor with some additional supports and sleepers that were built in. But if we take a quick look, we're actually looking down now. You can see through the ceiling down into the space on the first floor. The hallway, when it's done, hallway is going to remain the width of the stairs, and so that'll be coming all the way around, and the width of the stairs continuing off the back or through the second floor toward the back. The stairs that you see up front, these are going to go away, and in fact, everything beyond this is going to come down. This was all older additions that were put on. We think sometime in the 40s or 50s. This was the space was used as a law firm, most recently as a law firm, and before that it was the Saturday Night Club, and that was the original name of the building, and it was quickly renamed to the Hyannis Board of Trade. And starting, again, back around the time it was built in 1905, this building served as an informal chamber of commerce for Hyannis. Its members were a lot of the founding families of Hyannis. Typically, it was the male, members back then, very much patriarchal. But you had, the Nickersons and the Bierces and a lot of other, leading families of Hyannis. And this was a social club. It's where they would meet. I think, you can imagine card games going on, perhaps on weekends. We know that the members of this club were the first incorporators for Cape Cod Hospital. They worked with the railroads to get better rail service down to the Cape. So really, kind of an informal chamber of commerce, looked at what needed to get done in the day, back in the early 1900s in Hyannis, and then marshaled the resources to get some of those things done. The building, has been added onto. As we said, the addition off the back is going to come off entirely, and we're going to build, a large, or replicate, I guess, the footprint, squaring it off as we come out and back. So you can see this room, which we've been calling kind of the solarium, for lack of a better term. This is as far as the first floor will end up extending, or excuse me, all the floors will end up extending, the addition off the back. And, again, picking up a lot of space, here. This will be home to one of the apartments. I think we'll just about be fitting in this room. The one-bedroom apartments that we're going to be building here, there'll be a total of 8 one-bedroom apartments. They're going to average, just under 500 square feet. Done very smartly, really not wasting any space. One thing we have the benefit of is really tall ceilings. We have a drop ceiling right now, which you can see. But once you get beyond the drop ceiling, and you can start seeing what the heights are, and the room in here provides a really, great example. We get ceiling heights in here that are about 10 feet. And if you look, you can see, kind of where the ceiling was dropped down, over the ages. Don't know again what time this happened, but looking here, you can see a distinct break in the moldings, toward the ceiling that they probably were original, and then at a certain point, those were cut out. The ceiling was dropped down, and same thing looking at the window over here. The window we see as we see it today, but looking up top, you can actually see that the windows originally were much higher, and those are true for all the windows throughout. So we're going to be bringing back the window heights to something somewhere in between. But, again, in this room, you're dealing with ceiling heights. These are at least 10 feet, maybe 10 foot 6. So even though the apartments are going to be the one bedrooms, generally under 500 square feet, with that kind of volume, it makes a real difference. So here we are on the north side of the building, fronting onto Main Street. You can kind of, see looking down Main Street, great views from up front here. On the south side of the building, from the third floor, we think you'll have views actually down to Hyannis Harbor. But this is, what you're looking at right now. This is the heartbeat of Main Street. Right across from where we are is where the train comes in from Boston, the Cape Flyer. You're literally looking right across at the railroad depot. And then beyond that is the Regional Transit Authority, the Cape RTA. Really another gem of Cape Cod. From the hub here, you can get to any of the towns. They've got direct bus service. So really living on Main Street, and particularly here at 255 Main Street, it's going to be an opportunity to live, work, and play here in the heart of Hyannis, or getting out to any of the towns pretty easily. We really envision this as being a walking neighborhood. You're steps away from the ferry, you're steps away from the train into Boston, you're steps away from all of Main Street, and that's really what we're going for. We're trying to offer a life on Main Street, whether you're a young professional or retired professional, where you can largely put your car away and either get down to Calmus Beach on foot or by bike. You can walk all of Main Street. You're steps away from the ferry if you want to take trips out to the islands, and that's part of what's really exciting. Also worth pointing out, the Heritage House Hotel, which is our neighbor, just to the west here, was just acquired by a new family. Duvall, who's the owner, who I'm sure you'll meet at some point, great guy. He's got a lot of fantastic plans for this, and we're really excited. The block that we're on here at the intersection of Center and Ocean and Main is an exciting one, and it's a true revitalization that's going on here on Main Street. So again, just walking through some of the rooms to give you a little bit more of a feel. We're seeing it all again before the sledgehammers come out, and before any of the big demo starts later this week. So it's kind of a last look at a lot of the finishes that are in here. We're going to be preserving what we can, particularly some of this great molding. This is all done by hand. So we're going to be very delicate and deliberate when taking this off, and then look for opportunities to repurpose this throughout the apartments here at 255 Main Street. So again, just walking through this corner here at the northeast corner of the building will be home to another one-bedroom apartment. Again, dealing with really tall ceilings. Be putting in obviously new windows, new floors. Although it's a shame, the floors. I think if we'd gotten to this a few decades earlier, probably could have been preserved. But just given the multiple layers that were put on here, we had asbestos tile on top of original, the original boards that you see, and on top of that was plywood, and on top of that was felt, and on top of that was carpet, and oftentimes there was another layer or two thrown in between. So really a lot going on that we had to remove as part of the as part of the asbestos abatement. But that was all completed. AirSafe was our contractor and did a phenomenal job, really. And actually just looking at this today, as compared to before it started, just getting all that old carpet up and, you know, getting a better look at truly the bones, you know, of this building. It's really encouraging and, you know, and really exciting. Can only imagine, you know, what all this is going to look like 10 months from now.